What's up, everybody? Thanks so much for being here for the first episode of this podcast. You guys are awesome. And you're also in for a treat because on this episode, I sat down in Oceanside, California to talk with Billy Galewood. He's an all-around entertainer, a musician turned stand-up comedian, and a really awesome human being with a refreshing perspective on life. We talked about everything from comedy to social anxiety, dating to meditation, and it was a wonderful experience getting to sit and chat with him. So with that, here's my conversation with Billy Galewood.
Oh, this is
So
amazing.
We feel casual.
I feel casual. I feel comfortable.
Do you?
I feel more relaxed than I normally do when talking to somebody, and it might be because this high quality of your gear, because it feels warm and tender.
Does
We're
it?
in a nice environment,
A beautiful environment.
A little glass of wine,
Yes.
and so I feel like
This was a very quick setup. I'm kind of
it
happy
wasn't
with it.
bad,
I'm kind of
and
happy with it.
even my voice.
Does it sound good?
It sounds great, but I've noticed that I've even dropped the
octave?
I've lowered
Is it a little- is it a
the
little-
pitch
it's
of
more
my voice.
Intimate.
Yeah,
It's a little.
and I feel like I'm doing it on purpose, but I'm trying to be natural here. Yet for some reason, I am putting on my voice. Who had a little too close to the microphone right there? Okay, yes, I'm putting on my voice.
I'm sure you'll get more and more casual
Yeah.
as it goes on. That's kind of how it
Well,
works,
the
right?
thing is, I think I'm just actually where I want to be, because usually my voice goes up in
Yeah.
pitch till I'm like talking to people loud and at a higher pitch.
Sure.
But now I'm actually at the place I wanted to be in 20 minutes from now,
Perfect.
which is good.
That's a good
So I
start.
appreciate that.
It's a good start.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm into, like, my car just broke down, and I'm into not driving. It's a little tricky when coming like from LA to San Diego, because then
It's hard in California.
the train is nice.
Yeah,
but
we were talking about that.
the train
and
is
how I need
real
to
nice.
try
Yeah.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were going to have that happen today. And
then
since I don't have a car, I don't know how I'd get you from the train station. We do the podcast just driving back
just yes,
down.
I'm super mobile. I don't know if you noticed.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
This is
I
amazing.
would just grabbed an Uber out here.
Yeah.
Just grabbed an Uber.
Yeah. So like in LA, the Uber situation is it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I have this like, I'm a Lyft dude. Like, and I have some sort of Lyft pride, as if like Uber is like, it's
Well, they're
like,
the swanky pants ones.
yeah.
And they tend to be a little bit more expensive.
It's like
for
the
the same
difference
ride.
between dating apps, Uber and Lyft. You're like, oh, one is, I'm definitely on this one instead of that one, because this one, it's all the same. And it's all the same people doing the same thing. You just feel better about yourself because you made some sort of, or I should say I made some sort of decision in my head, like this is the one to go to.
Yeah. This app reflects something different about me than this other.
Yeah, this
app.
one means I'm classy.
Yes.
And that I won't give it up.
Yes. I'm
You
guilty of that thought
Yeah.
fully.
Of course. But I got to say, though, like, I'm only a Uber Lyft user, and I'm not a dating app user, though I couldn't be any more single than I am right now.
I know the feeling.
I put the
I do know
sin
the
in
feeling.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Quite single.
Yeah, but I can't use those apps because of my spelling dilemma.
Spelling. You're worried they'll judge you for your spelling.
Oh, no, I don't worry. I have been.
They
Just
have.
completely, yeah.
It seems rude to me, quite frankly.
Spellists. The word your.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hate that word. It's
Tricky.
my worst, yeah. Screw you, the word your. It's awful.
Yeah. Not your friend.
Apostrophe's not my friend.
Yeah.
In fact, I just learned the difference between your and your apostrophe RE about 6 months ago.
Hey.
Hey,
You got
know
there.
what? We all have it, but I can juggle. It's like, there you go. It's a trade-off.
We
But
can't all be everything.
Yeah.
We can't
But
all
the
be
things
everything.
that I'm not all of seem to be the things that I don't know, more socially accepted. But yeah, like, so the date, I couldn't, like, I'm a personality guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going on some sort of site to date and I'm typing, like, I'm an awful Twitterer. Nobody likes anything I put on Twitter. In fact, if there was a dislike on Twitter, I would get ample amounts of like, just stop. People answer me like, at Billy Gale would stop.
No.
Like, it just doesn't work.
I don't believe it.
But I only Twitter. I don't know how to play the game. Twitter has now become.
I've never understood
the
Twitter
game
for me.
of Twitter. And I know
Yeah.
there's going to be people listening going like, these idiots, but like, I don't get it. Like, I have friends that are very much like, they'll watch something knowing that there's going to be a Twitter war on it.
You never
Like,
know what's going to blow up. You never know.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure my Twitter feed is not going to.
No, it's a
unless I
struggle.
learn this game. It's like Words with Friends,
Yep.
Twitter, social media. I don't even like to say dating sites names anymore. Like
Yeah.
Bumble, Tinder. Because I feel, and I don't even like to say their name. It's like somebody that I don't know what it's like to have like a step sibling, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, it's a difficult game to be in, the dating app game.
yeah.
Because I've tried it. I've been in there. I've still got profiles on there.
Yeah. Does that mean that you still try it now? Like
I haven't been on there in probably a couple months, something like that, because it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's feeling like a waste of time.
Oh, it is totally a waste of time.
Because also, you can like somebody on paper. You can like what they're choosing to show you in that kind of a sense. And they can look appealing or whatever, but really you don't know until you get in front of somebody whether there's any kind of connection, right?
Somebody picked me up in my Lyft the other day and was like, "You don't look anything like your picture." And I'm like, "Oh."
It's just automatically a rude comment.
It's automatically rude. It means you thought I looked good in my picture and then you picked me up and you don't think that anymore. And I'm like, that was my headshot, for frick's sake. Like, I don't even know why I have that as a headshot. I should have like the middle finger up in my, Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket in the other hand. But I'm like, like, oh, here's me smiling on cue. Yeah, well, but you know what? My friend moved to Nashville, went on her first Tinder date, and married the guy 6 weeks later.
Dang.
And I'm like, hey, and it doesn't give me hope. It doesn't give me hope. It gives me like, what am I doing so wrong in life?
Yeah, but isn't that the struggle in everything in life? Because we're always like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? How come this is not working out for me, but it's working out for everybody else?
I'm just blaming the app anymore. I'm like, it's not me.
Because it's hard. How do you make a real connection?
Well, yeah,
that? How do you know
do
who
a
you're supposed
magic
to be
trick
talking to?
on Bumble, and that goes a long way with me.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I've gotten some from magic tricks?
No, how many?
0 times.
Oh, perfect.
But it doesn't mean I won't stop trying.
Somebody will get it. One
See,
day.
it always ends up like this. I start doing magic tricks. I think it's going well, and then I end up just talking to like an 8-year-old for a while, and then I go home alone
Because they were fascinated.
because they're more fast. I had this kid today. I did some magic tricks at this event I was at, and then every time I turn around, that like little 7-year-old was just standing near me, like, man, I'm just waiting, man.
I just wait.
Like,
He's
there's
going
a
to do
sea
something.
of adults. You're the
He's
only
gonna
one that
do
looks like
something.
you're,
I know it.
half my brain wavelength right now. But
Yeah, I don't know what the magic formula is anymore. I guess maybe it's just supposed to happen when it happens.
No,
And maybe you just meet the right people when you meet them, because it almost seems like going out there and in the trying has been detrimental almost.
well, I think that's the whole thing, is when there's the trying that's happening. And I mean, maybe it works, and you can't say
There's exceptions to every rule.
yes, exactly. And that my personal choice of how I'm going to look like, because I believe it's a choice. And lately, I've been choosing to say that I have social anxiety, especially when it comes to meeting somebody or dating or whatever like this, and like when I'm on stage, I get to be free and I get to just be whatever. And I'm like thinking in my head, oh, everybody likes me now. And as soon as I step off stage, I'm like, everyone hates my guts. Like, why is everybody giving me a bad look?
You feel like two different people.
I feel like two different people.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, and I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, it's either my face or I'm just kind of a dick. And then I was like, it's probably a hybrid of those two, because I'm a really nice guy most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think I'm okay looking most of the time. But there's those times where my face, like, I went to see comedy the other day, and the one guy on stage, and I know he was a comic and doing his thing, but he's like, what are you looking like? You're better than everybody else. And I went, me? And I actually
how am I
yelled
doing that?
back at him. I go, I'm a decent man. Like, that was my comeback.
Because sometimes you got to defend yourself.
Yeah,
even
but I
in
need
a
to come up
show.
with better than I'm a
You know?
decent man. Actually, the whole entire audience of 7 was like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Don't do that. Don't give him that." I'm like, "Yeah, give me that. I'm a decent man."
Yeah, I'm nice.
What's wrong with being decent?
That's so funny. That's so funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny to say that you have social anxiety because how many people are scared to go up on stage? How many people are scared to go up on stage and just speak in front of people like
I
a normal
can
person,
take
let
off.
alone have to entertain a room full of people that you don't know and try to make them laugh. That sounds
It's frightening.
daunting.
It's very daunting.
Yeah.
It's very daunting, and it's sort of a. I mean, I've always was in the laugh making business, and for anybody that don't know, doesn't know, I was in music for 15 years, and then decided to one day retire all of that, and then switch to comedy, which is interesting, and then it's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm in my second year, and
oh gosh, it's really new.
It's very new.
Yeah.
Though I've always said jokes on stage, and I've always improv jokes. My jokes are usually improv, or I would have jokes that have worked themselves out on stage. But this is the first time, really, that I'm writing jokes and then working them out, and then trying and doing the same routine over and over to perfect it.
An entirely different world.
Oh, it's a trip.
And when there's effort put into it, right? You're really trying. That puts. I'm sure that creates more nerve for you too.
It does, because, you know, one of the reasons to stop doing music is repetition. Like, I was starting to get to be a kind of a robot to my set. And my set really didn't change for like 5 years. Even if I wrote new songs, I just sort of fell back to the stuff that I already knew how to do. But with comedy, it's very honest. You know, people don't like clap throughout a song. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not like, "Oh, we're a quarter of a way through and this has been really good. Let's throw some claps and keep you encouraged."
Sure.
But with comedy, you want laughs like every 15 to 30 seconds.
There's an expectation.
There's an expectation.
And does that get scarier if you feel like you're in the middle of your set and you have this expectation and then it's not getting reached? Does that make you more nervous as it goes on?
Yeah. Yeah. And the less comfortable I am, the less comfortable I am. And the less comfortable I am, the less comfortable the vibe in the room. Vibe is very
people
important.
Can feel it.
You know, when people walk on stage and they're like, "Well, okay." You just took the room to that level. Yeah. You know, and that's and I'm a high energy dude. But then there's something to say, like, if I go on and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, everybody? Toledo, what's happening?" I go on with this like rocker thing. Mm-hmm. I gotta follow that up with some comical kung fu. You know, I gotta
you just set a bar.
I gotta be throwing some knees and elbows of comedy.
Yeah.
And you know, right? And I'm a great storyteller. Though I haven't worked out stories really yet in my set. I do get in some, and definitely I still get inspired on stage, and I still allow myself to go there, even if it's uncharted territory, even if I don't know. Because if I'm laughing at it, everybody seems to be on my side and sort of laughing at it with me. And if it's making me laugh, then I got a good gauge at like what's, you know, what could be funny.
Sure.
Or how to make it funny. But right now, a lot of my humor is, you know, the stories just aren't that long. Like, I can't carry a story for 5 minutes. Like, it's like I got maybe like 2 minutes on this story, and then I got to move on to something else.
Right.
So it's really interesting. But having 30 years of performing already under my belt, I can't like, that's never going to go away. Thank God. So I have tools. Mm-hmm. I have tools, and still you're going to bomb. It's just going to, see, there's the thing is, you're going to win some and you're going to learn some. And to me, that is the quote that I'm been telling myself this year in comedy. You know, last year was like, what do you got to lose? You know, you already quit everything. You're at zero. What do you got to lose?
Doing something new. Might as well do it.
This year, it's you're going to win some, you're going to learn some. Like when I went to Vegas, Eric Schwartz, who is my comedy mentor, he's given me just some great shows. I've been able to go up at improvs, go on tour. We went to Arizona together. We went around California together, and we have a blast. Awesome. Just love each other. It's awesome. he's great because I'll go on stage and then he'll give me notes, and then I go back on and try it again. And I have no problem being a novice. I have no problem being bad at my art. I mean, to be honest, I feel like you spend most of the time being kind of bad at something. You spend a lot of time at it. I mean, if you're trying to master something,
well, everybody has to start somewhere.
You got to start. But, I meet a lot of people that are kind of fixated on I don't want to do it because I don't want to be bad at it. I don't want to listen to myself not be good, or listen to myself hit bad notes.
Yeah, because we have a lot of pressure we put on ourselves.
Exactly. Anybody could learn how to juggle. Anybody. I taught a guy that had mobility in one arm how to juggle. I was his other arm. It's like, so everybody wants to do stuff. And these are those things, that resistance that comes up for a lot of people I know is because they don't want to be bad. I mean, I'm like, or fail. And I'm like, hell, failing. That's like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Failing. And the word fail, I think, is kind of it's not always an accurate word to not succeeding to your expectation. Or where do you want to be?
Our expectations are usually way too high at first.
Exactly.
Way too high at first.
Yeah, way too high. I mean, if you want to start in comedy, it's like stand on stage for 1 minute and just talk. And if you get no laughs, you did it.
Yeah, you showed up.
So many people want to do 5 minutes of stand-up. It's like a lot of people's little back of their mind, man, I would love, let me just go out with you sometime. My friend has never gone to see stand-up comedy. And he wants to go on stage and do stand-up. I say, do it. Most likely, you'll get a laugh. And if you don't, who cares? I believe a lot of people think people care about you.
Yeah, they forget about what you've done pretty quickly.
We
also define ourselves too much by these moments that don't go perfect, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We internalize it. We define it as though we'll never be better. And that was it. That was my moment, and it didn't go right, and now I'm going to stop.
Even if you've done 10 things awesome, if you drop the ball on something, that'll be the thing that sticks in your mind.
Yeah. But over and over.
But recently I heard something that somebody said to the fact that, it's your blunders that you really remember in your life. Those are the memories you kind of laugh at. You're like, remember the time?
Well, it's the stuff that makes the good stories, right?
It makes the stuff that makes the good stories.
Who likes the person that walks around telling stories about when they were perfect?
Yeah, I can't tell you 5. Well, I probably could tell you 5, but if I was to sit here and list great shows of mine compared to blunders, colossal blunders on stage, I could probably tell you the date of the blunder. I could tell you where it was, what it was like outside. My senses got so hyper, Yeah. But if I had a great show, people come up and say, I was in Milwaukee, this thing, man, it was a great show. I'm like, huh, awesome. People come on and people tell me things that I said. I'm doing some sketch work right now with some folks, and they're like, they said we met yesterday, and they were like, yeah, and Billy said that, and I was like, I did? That was my suggestion? I don't even remember that. Yeah. But if I was to make myself look like an idiot or something, I'd remember that, no problem.
Of course, that's what our brains want to latch onto for sure. So what do you do if you have one of those moments? How do you get yourself from not hanging on to it too hard for the next time when you go back on?
In the moment, or in general? Because there's that just happened.
Did it?
And no, I'm meaning if I'm in a performance.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it just happened. It happens every time, It's now you got to go on. You just said a joke and nobody laughed, or you screwed up that song, or you dropped the juggling ball, or you just tripped and fell. The rest of the show has to happen to the magnitude of the best you could possibly do it. Then you get to deal and process it with it later. And for a while, I would just lose my shit on stage. I would just have the show turned into watching me have a mental breakdown over the fact that something bad happened.
You shared
and
it.
I've seen it happen to other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I paced in circles on stage, just not knowing what to do. People going, I came here for an acoustic music night, and this idiot is broke a guitar string, threw his guitar on the ground, and is pacing, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Yet now, I have better tools. And I suggest to anyone that's getting into anything is develop tools. The more tools you have in your toolbox for understanding a moment, the better you will be in life. At least the more tools that I have in my toolbox in any moment allows me to understand situations. So on stage, if something happens, and if I'm digging in my toolbox, I allow myself to breathe. Because what happens is
we forget to do that a lot.
We forget to do that, especially when we have tension.
Mm-hmm.
We hold our breath. They just call me an asshole. You son of a bitch. And then you got a lack of oxygen in the brain and no, you're an asshole. And that just happened to me the other day.
Nice.
Some old man, I was crossing the street at the last second. And he's like, you asshole. And I yelled back, no, you're an asshole. That was my big comeback.
That's your go-to right now.
You're an asshole. Okay. I just repeat back. But breathing is the first thing.
Sure.
If I can just laugh, or if I can if your set is solid, you could always go back to something that you know will happen in your set. Try not to dwell on it. Just like in life. Like the guy that called me an asshole the other day. What does that have to do with me or anything? The rest, it just doesn't have to do with anything. It's over with and it's gone, and now it's just some sort of memory. And I have an option to apply some sort of meaning or attachment to it, or I could be less selfish, and I could see what's really around me, see what's happening. And just in a performance, it's like, see these people in front of me. They're on my side. They're on my side.
That's the very interesting thing is every time I've gone to a comedy show, I'm looking at these people and I admire that they're up there on stage trying to make people laugh. And I'm always want them to be funny.
Yeah.
I always want them to have a successful set. I try to laugh as much as I can, to be honest, or like throw a smile. If say you get some eye contact or something, just because I'm sure that's got to be, even if you've been doing it for a long time, it's got to be pretty hard.
Oh yeah. And everybody bombs. And everybody, it's part of it, and that's another thing to understand. It's like Alona Frankel's book, Everybody Poops. It's everybody bombs. And the thing about comedy, which is interesting, which is something that when my friends come and see me, and if they see a joke that maybe didn't go well, they might say, "Hey, I don't think you should do that joke." And I'm like, "Well, I've said it twice. That joke doesn't even know what it's supposed to be yet. What I'm saying might not even be the funny in that joke."
Yeah.
But if you hear somebody chuckle or a little thing, you're like, okay, there's something there. You're planting a lot of seeds as a joke writer. So you know which jokes you have that are just like, low picking fruit that you can it's going to be easy to, grab and it's ready to go. And then there's like saplings that you have to be very delicate with
it's a development
nurture
process.
And this development, and you got to try and dissect, and that's why it's good to have a mentor when you're doing something, so that mentor can go, "Hey, try this out. Try to look at it." Eric recently just told me in a joke, ask them the question first, and it's like kind of cliche. It's like, you guys, when you all out there, you ladies, when you're out there, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
I swear.
Because it's engaging.
It's engaging, and people, oh yeah, us ladies, we doing this, or whatever it is, or
sure.
Us dudes, we are kind of like that, it's kind of like, like that Nutty Professor, women be shopping, women do be shopping,
because they feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah, it's just something relatable, On the way here, we were listening to this guy's comedy, and he started talking about a disc man, and I'm not going to do his bit, but it was instantly funny because everybody, if you don't know what a Discman is, it's the thing that used to play CDs in. It was a giant thing you used to play CDs.
And isn't it great that you have to say that now?
It is, because I'm like, well, wait a second. There's a date. I used to judge. I can pick your age or roughly close to your age if you knew what a McDLT was.
A McDLT?
A McDLT.
Whoa.
So you don't know what a McDLT is?
No, what is that?
It's from McDonald's. It was on the menu.
I know it was from McDonald's. I got that.
It was hot on one side and cold on the other, and it came in a styrofoam case.
Yeah.
And it was, you keep the hot, and you keep the cold, and then right before you eat it, it was like a flip thing, and you just flip them on. So when you took that first bite, you didn't have that soggy lettuce.
Dang.
It's just a quarter pounder, but it was a McDLT.
I mean, I know what a quarter pounder is.
What did DLT stand for?
That's what I'm trying to figure out when you're telling that story.
The dumbass, you buying this stuff for 50 cents more because we separated.
Sounds like a gimmick. Sounds like a gimmick.
Yeah, it is. McDonald's is a gimmick. Like, there's no like nothing ungimmicky about McDonald's.
Truth.
But they've changed their approach. There's a lot of new
branding.
approaches. Yeah.
Yeah, because they want you to think a certain way about them. It's so funny they even have a salad bar. It's like, just do what you do.
They just do what you do. Just make it worse. Don't make it better.
You do burgers.
You do better. Just do what Taco Bell's doing and doing like.
It's like In-N-Out. They don't change and they're the same and people don't care.
Right.
And when I was driving out here, I passed an In-N-Out, and it's like, what's like 8 something at night. This line is just all the way down the parking lot. People are still in the street trying to get in the line. Now
I got a theory on that. Because they haven't changed their menu.
No.
They've created a secret menu, which you feel like you're at California, and if you're like, I'll have the Neapolitan shake, and then look around, who is this Neapolitan? Doesn't see it on the menu. And then
fancy.
As well as they're not, I think there's one in like an airport, but maybe in Texas or something, but like there's not In-N-Outs anywhere. So there's a whole like, I mean, when people visit, what do you say? Have you been to In-N-Out?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to In-N-Out?
They've made themselves very special.
Very special in the weird of fast food, like, in the weird world of fast food.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I always wanted to shoot a commercial for In-N-Out, and like it's like a father and a son, and they're like, driving past all these fast food. Daddy, can I go here? No, we're not going to go to McDonald's because blah blah blah. We're not going to go to Burger King because blah 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 blah. And then they pull into In-N-Out. And the kid's like, well, isn't this In-N-Out? And the dad's like, no. Like something like that, like, no, it's not. Yeah, it's the one exception.
People create like an attachment to it. That's the funny part,
Absolutely.
Right? Like you're from California and In-N-Out is the thing. But say like I went to Texas, right? And
Mm-hmm.
their thing was Whataburgers.
Oh, Whataburger. Yeah.
Is that
Whataburger, yeah. Never been there, but I've definitely seen the sign.
Yeah. And had myself a chicken sandwich from there to try it out because we were like, everybody from Texas was like, you have to try it. It's much better than In-N-Out. They're just trying to say it's better.
No,
don't worry. But there's a competitive nature, and you feel like you have to defend your
and they
fast
want
food?
that. They want that. Yeah, look, your fast food's slow compared to my fast food. Even
right?
In-N-Out is probably the slowest fast food you will ever.
I just remember being in that conversation. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? They're both burgers. They're both
exactly
good.
Like, what are you talking? Yeah,
but we don't need to be in a deep conflict conversation.
Here, it goes to everybody wants to claim something. Like we claim this, claim that. It's funny because we all live in one country, but we're so in a but then we're separated on states, and then those stuff, and then we get even down to you keep this separation going all the way to like high schools. Oh, you go to Orange, well I go to North, and you a punk, and it's like
grouping up.
It's like you're a mile and a half away. You know what I mean? One street is while you're at Orange and I'm at North.
Yep.
It's crazy, the competitive world.
Yeah, I was saying that because I like to watch the show The First 48. Have you seen that show?
That is a show based on the first 48. I have no idea what it's based on. It was me going to
first 48 hours after a murder.
Oh,
so it follows the detectives in real life, and they have to find a lead in the first 48. Otherwise, they have a huge chance of not solving it. Right?
Right. That's the whole thing. If they don't solve in 48, there's a huge chance.
Exactly. And I'm watching this show, right? I don't know why I'm fascinated by it, but I'm watching it, and I'm looking at the stories of these kids, right? And they're feuding over blocks. Like their worlds are so tiny, and they're feuding over blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And like killing each other.
Oh yeah,
over crossing the street. I don't understand. 14-year-old kids, and I was like, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's true. Well, that's like it's people that haven't left.
Your world's too small.
The world. I saw Boys in the Hood. They were like, I can't leave my town, but like it's seriously. It's crazy. I met somebody once. This has nothing to do with like what we were talking about, but I did meet somebody once, and but they had never left their town by choice. I found that fascinating, that you wouldn't leave your town and you didn't have some sort of gang affiliation.
Some people seem to think they can't.
Oh yeah,
there's that mentality of being stuck. Like, I'm stuck. I'm supposed to be here. I can't go anywhere else. This is what I have to do, which is ridiculous. And I've lived that mentality, and it's awful and ridiculous. And I didn't even do it for that long, and it was enough to like shock me out of that pattern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, especially when their worlds are more small, how are they even supposed to learn that thought process of getting unstuck when it's all they seem to know? When maybe their parents have done that and their grandparents, and that's what they're taught.
Yeah.
Stay here and do this.
Yeah. Well, when I moved out to California 17 years ago, or even before that, when I was coming out of high school, knowing I've always wanted to be a performer, people would say things to me like, "We don't want you to get hurt." And when I was thinking, who's this we? Or like, don't trust anybody. That was the advice I got from my family. Don't trust anybody out there. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I got to go the rest of my life because I've left a place that I really didn't choose to be raised in, and now I'm not going to go trust anybody?
Yeah.
Well, how's that working out for you? Because I'm going to try trusting people, and maybe I'll make some mistakes along the way.
Yeah, it's a reflection of their personal fear.
It's just like this
onto
fear-driven,
Yeah.
Safety. One of the wonderful things I've learned from two of my mentors, the creators of Cafe Gratitude, which was Matthew and Tiercy's Engelhart, they would say safety is a sedative to your life, and I believe this to be true. And when I feel like my security is low, meaning like job security, family, whatever it may be, like my car's broke down and I don't have rent, or whatever, whenever I'm feeling like this, I need to be safer, I need to be more secure, or I'm in my retirement or something like that. I'm not in some sort of union or something. I think that line, safety is a sedative. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to go dive in a shark tank.
Right.
Which I'm not. I did jump out of a plane recently, but
that just sounds cool.
And way less frightening once you do it. Once you're like, oh, okay, cool, let's do this tomorrow.
I would love to do that. Bungee jumping's scarier to me for some reason. It's the bounce back.
It's the bounce back. It's just that whippy thing. I'm like, my body ain't gonna do that. But just
break
like
my neck. But jumping out of a plane, sounds great.
You're just like laying on your stomach.
Yeah.
And then the ripcord, and you get a big wedgie. If you can handle a big wedgie, it's skydiving.
There are worse things in life.
You lift your feet at the end, but that's it. Yeah, to be afraid. I mean, if you think about the timeline of the universe, and then the timeline of existence for humans, and then the timeline of you and I, we a blink. We are a speck of dust on a speck of dust in a blink. What are you going to do? Are you going to be super concerned about the afterlife? Okay, if we have two existences, life and death, well, I'm going to deal with that later. I'm going to be as good a person as I can now. And I'm not talking disregard morality and what makes you a good person. But if you want to do something in your life, do it, because you're going to die. You and me in this house that we're in, and everybody I know and everybody you know. It's wild to think about. And it's not about to jog through the memory everybody you didn't call today and say I love you, but it's to just remember that life is very brief. And what are you going to do while you're here? And if ultimately your happiest is not leaving your home and starting a family and that's it, that's huge. That's great. But if you're going to live your life with this wondering of what should I do, or you young kids that are like, I'll still be able to do it later, you just do it now. Do it now. Or if you're older and you think, well, I just couldn't do that, just do it. My 78-year-old dad said he wanted to jump out of a plane. I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
Please, God, let's do it.
Well, it's like, what are we waiting for?
What are we waiting for?
We're just waiting to get older, or what?
Yeah. Are we waiting to get older? Are we waiting to get younger?
That's not going to happen.
It's just darn ridiculous. I kind of pay attention to stoicism a bit, and this podcast I listen to a lot. Tim Ferriss talks a lot about it. Got to pour myself a kind of a large glass. Did you look at yours then, going, "Wow, he really was chintzy on my end"? Usually it's the opposite. The guy, I'm pouring my. I was like, "Wow, he's trying to get himself drunk, so he could take advantage of himself later." No, I'm just sorry, stupid.
As though you would need wine for that.
Yeah, true. Actually, the wine doesn't help. That matter, that just knocks me out. But you know that Stoic philosophy of like reminding yourself of your death.
Yes.
In a positive way, which is
it's a very good thing. Oddly enough. It's a very good thing.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when my nephews and nieces call me for advice or their parents ask me to talk to them, that's what I tell them. I remind them that this life is not infinite, and that you have a choice, and that nobody's going to hate you for creating an amazing life. And that's what I learned. Nobody's mad at me for my choices. People tend to want me to have more notoriety, or they tend to want me to have more money. Like, you know, or they like to say things like, "I knew one day you're just gonna have your what?"
Yeah,
life.
It's about what they're defining success as.
Yeah, or yes, what they're defining success as, and what when maybe my 15-year-old self told them. Like, I told you that when I was 15. I'm 41.
Yeah, I might have changed.
I have a life. I have a great life. Because if not, you'll go crazy. You'll go crazy chasing the monkey, and that monkey. Let me tell you something. You make $1 million, you're still chasing that monkey. You make 10 million, you're still chasing that, whatever that is. Success has no roof. There's nobody that just goes, "I'm okay." There's always more to achieve. There's more. You know, how does a billionaire get formed? Do you think at 50 million they could have been like, "Nah, I think I'm cool"? Nah. We got to make that into more and more and more and more. And I just made the decision one day that, and I don't always agree with this decision, but I'm just going to do this till I stop. And that my ultimate goal is something that I can achieve every day. And what that ultimate goal is happiness. And it sounds cheesy, and I don't care.
It's not cheesy, though.
You know.
It's the reality of it.
It's the reality is, what is the currency? What is the real currency? Is it foldable paper money that's made up with nothing to back it, that's made with an interest for a debt that can't ever be solved because it doesn't make any sense?
Which is now just turning into numbers in a computer that's not even a real
thing. Nothing's real. Money isn't backed by anything. It's just fabricated.
We decide it's important. We decide it's worth something. Just as if the world fell apart and then we went back to a barter system, water would be money.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe my charm will finally be accepted as a currency. So can I get the nice guy discount? I talk about that a lot. Nice guy discount. I heard that on a This American Life or Radio Lab podcast or something. So now I ask, can I get the nice guy discount? It never works, but
the world might be a better place if we had that.
But the currency to me is joy, happiness. The currency is my 6.5-month-old nephew visiting with my great nephew with my nephew and his wife visiting me for 3 days.
Yeah.
When they left, I was inspired. $1,000 isn't going to inspire me. I'll buy a new water filter,
and it's gone in the blink of an eye.
It's gone in the blink of an eye. I just found $1,000.
You found $1,000?
Yeah, I jumped out of a car and it was between my feet.
Stop.
And I picked it up. I thought it was a couple $100. I threw it in my bag. I looked around. It was an empty parking lot. There was no parking lot attendant. I didn't know what to do. My buddy called me up. I said, "What do I do? I'm in an empty parking lot in downtown LA. $1,000 or just a couple bills on the ground. I pick it up. I look around. No parking lot attendant. No car near me. It's an empty parking lot. And my buddy goes, "Just the universe gave you a gift. Walk home." So
I was just going to say the universe just gifted you $1,000.
And I get home and I count it. And it was $1,000.
That's crazy.
So I bought a water filter.
Useful.
Because my nephew was coming into town and I was drinking out of a busted one. I bought a new toilet seat because it was cracked and a vacuum cleaner, and I paid some bills and it was gone. It was neat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to have that vacuum cleaner, but that's not really, they didn't bring joy. What bring joy was what I got that stuff for was to have my nephew and niece there and to, I'm happy to drink clean water and I feel better about that. But the real joy was that experience I had with those people. So that's the currency that I'm talking about. That's a currency game. So if I was to look at that currency as how rich am I, I'm loaded.
That's the important part, though. Well, that's part of that whole that life is short thing, and what am I going to remember in the end?
Yeah.
Which is what I try to do now. If I find myself getting stressed out or upset over something, I go, is this even going to be something I remember in a week or two?
Yeah.
Am I giving it too much credit in this moment?
And that's
a lot of times we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We give it so much credit and authority over ourselves, and I'm just going to give you my everything, and all my pain's going to go into this, thing that just happened to me, instead of just breathing. And the first thing that usually happens when something happens, you use a sensation in your body. So if you breathe through that sensation, it goes away.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time in avoidance.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just sits there and it builds.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then we develop triggers to that. So when the same type of things happen, it's like that same visceral kind of reaction in the body happens every time. I've been trying to meditate in the morning and at night.
Oh, that's great.
Just like 15 minutes really on either end.
Yeah, that's great.
And kind of just, I do for a couple minutes, I do the whole thing where I'm just paying attention to my breathing and I'm trying to not think anything.
Yeah.
And then I spend a little bit of time just observing what my mind's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if I just let myself go, what nonsense is it drifting to? So what's bothering me? What am I fixating on?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's ridiculous, then trying to, when I come out of it, kind of realize and reinforce in myself, like, stop giving that attention, or what can you do to fix it, get away from it, alleviate it, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been trying to do in the morning and night.
Sounds
just
like
to see what my brain's doing. What's my brain doing?
Yeah. I did a 10-day silent meditation. So I went into the woods. I don't know if I talked to you about this. It's called Vipassana meditation.
No. And I was actually recently talking to another friend about that. He said that he did it. And I said I was interested in doing it at some point.
Do it.
Yeah.
Changed my life.
Wow.
And I'm about due to do it again. I would have liked to have done it sooner, but it's a little scary too. It's 10 days silent in the woods. It's some sort of retreat. I went 10 days silent. I didn't write. I didn't read. I didn't exercise. I did nothing. I meditated 10 hours a day. You have lunch and breaks in between. And then after 10 days, you've learned the art of Vipassana meditation, which starts with the breathing. It's called Anapana breathing, and it's just an observation. Vipassana is an observation meditation. And you spend 4 days focusing on your nose and upper lip. Then you learn the art of Vipassana, which is a sensation oriented meditation where you are scanning your body, paying attention to the sensations, good, bad, pain, no pain, doesn't matter. And you just kind of keep cruising through. And that's all I kind of want to say about it, in case I don't want to if
Sure.
Everybody does it, you don't want to go in there with too much knowledge of it.
Right.
And my explanation cannot do it justice, because it's definitely an experience. But they when you leave there, they have you meditate an hour in the morning and an hour at night. And how Vipassana came to help me in the world is that somebody calls me an asshole. First thing I do is, when I stop breathing, I start creating sensations in my body. My chest gets hot, or my stomach drops, or whatever that is. And then I don't know what to do with that. And I go, no, fuck you.
Right. Just trying to get it out.
Getting it out.
Yeah.
But with Vipassana, as soon as you start feeling those feelings, you bring the focus to the sensation. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to breathe. And I notice my chest is getting hot and my stomach is dropping, and my knees are shaking. You just bring focus to that. And right now, I'm focusing on me. I'm not focusing on you. Granted, if some guy's about to punch me in my face,
sure,
I should probably be a little bit more aware what this body language is happening.
Right.
But if it's something that, or just an argument you're getting or upset, you can breathe your way through it, because that sensation of being mad or angry will not last forever. It never does. Just like an itch, or that feeling, it's going to pass. It's going to pass. So it's like, as soon as they say something to you, it's now your responsibility. You didn't ask for it.
Right.
But it's your responsibility.
And now you get to make a choice about how you want to process
it. So that observation that you're doing is highly important to the way you are with your thoughts. As they creep up, you do those meditations as, okay, this thought's coming up and I let it go, and this thought's coming up. Well, okay, that's how I feel about that. Sometimes
I don't know how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how I feel until I sit down and I do that. Or I don't know that something's
you're like,
really
wow, that's
me.
Really bothering me.
Or what the root of it was, or what it's reminding me of, if it's something from the past that it's bringing up, or it's like I need that time to figure out what even that is.
Absolutely. And it's not about being, again, it's a practice. It's not about being perfect. It's not, oh, you learned meditation and now you think you're just going to ohm your way through, It's like, no, not at all.
I learn a lot about how not perfect I am through it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it shows me a lot, quite frankly.
It's just a great, and another thing about meditation is you are gifting yourself a moment with yourself.
Yeah.
You're asleep 8 hours a day. You're another 16 hours or whatever the hell. You're sleeping. I mean, you're awake, and then whatever. Math wasn't a thing, and then how much of that time are you just with you? And meditation could be your workout program. Meditation could be sitting and meditating at night. Meditation could be you outside looking at things.
Yeah, but people envision it as one particular thing, but it
exactly. Meditation is to me, and I'm not teaching any classes on it, and I'm not some monk in the Himalayas or whatever, but to me it is a gift to see what your thoughts are, to allow your thoughts to pass without attachment.
Because you realize that they're not necessarily you.
Yeah, and they're not always necessarily true.
A lot of times they're not.
And they're not necessarily filled with facts.
No, you could be placing things on
absolutely.
That. Yeah, we were talking about that.
The mind's a dangerous place.
A bunch of storytellers around here.
Just a bunch of storytellers around here,
All of us.
Don't go in that mind alone. It's a scary place.
It's a dangerous thing. Well, it's like I've talked to people about how a lot of them are afraid of being alone, or they want people around them constantly, and they need that kind of engagement all the time.
Yeah.
And over the past several years, especially, I've always been introverted for the most part, but like I've enjoyed a lot of alone time lately. And some people they didn't understand, and I was trying to explain that. They're like, "Well, why don't you want to come out? Why don't you want to do this? Why don't you want to do that?" And I was like, "Well, sometimes I was like, you need that alone time." And they're like, "How do you do that?" I don't know how you do that. And I was like, "Well, think about it. It's like the one person you have to be with forever is you. So if you can learn to enjoy to just be with that person sometimes, that's probably going to be more helpful for you in the future, because there's going to be times where it's just you.
It's just you. You're going to be born alone and you're going to die alone.
You never know. People coming in and out of your life, and you think they're permanent, and maybe they're not.
And maybe they're not. And I believe that life is like if you look at the way DNA looks, or like, the infinity sign looks. It meets in the middle and then it separates, and it comes back and meets in the middle and it separates. I think people are in and out of our lives. Even the theory of marriage is interesting to me, because it's like, well, maybe life is just about experiencing and then experiencing someone else and making different friends. And it's not all about like just latching onto somebody, but
or it's like when you've had that friend for a very long time, since forever, but maybe you've grown into a very different person over time.
Exactly.
As you grew, as you should, you become more of yourself, whoever that's going to be. And if you something's not right there anymore, I think people are afraid to kind of make that separation, and not even in a negative way necessarily, right?
Yeah.
It's just about like maybe you have to find a different circle for a time.
Right. Absolutely.
And you separate and you keep learning as yourselves, and maybe they come back around. You never know. There's so many people in my life that I thought were gone forever. I was like, clearly these are probably people I'll never talk to again.
My high school best friend, Don Sorensi. I mean, I was there when he had a baby in the 10th grade or 9th, 11th grade. I mean, his child is 25 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were inseparable, slept in the same bed, opposite ways, like we had each other's feet in each other's faces, just like inseparable. And we didn't talk for 20 years. And then, it's so weird to say. And we're bros again. And we talk on Facebook. We call each other every once in a while. And I can't say that we have much in common anymore. I can't say that we one thing we do is we accept each other.
That's huge.
And I'm friends with him because I think it's a unique opportunity. It's a really cool opportunity to be friends with somebody that I was best friends with once, that I'm not best friends with now, that doesn't know my life. He's one of the guys that says, make sure you don't trust anybody out there. You got friends out there. Make sure you know. I'm like, come on, dude. I've been here 2 decades. It's like, yeah, I got tons of friends.
Yeah.
In fact, I got as much time here as I do living in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
And, but it's cool. I think it's cool that I have this friend that's like, we're meeting each other again. We're becoming friends again. And I have some love for this man that I want to be there for him.
It's a deeper history there,
it's
too,
a wild,
to build on.
Deep history, I'm not exactly sure how we got here in this part of the conversation.
We're just wandering.
So my short term. But I like that. I like the fact that we just had a conversation.
You're just getting places. I always say some of the coolest friends you can have too are the ones where you don't talk to them for several years, and then the next time you do, by whatever means, it's like nothing ever changed. It's the same.
Oh,
and those are some of the best ones, right?
I love those people
because there's some people you don't talk to for a while, and you come back to each other, and then they want to be mad at you.
Oh, I don't have time for those people.
Well, you didn't call me. And I'm like, well, we're living our lives.
I do not have time for that.
Yeah, but that doesn't feel like a true friendship.
Not at all. Not if there's like some sort of stipulation or something like. It's about quality.
You didn't call me twice a week and
quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have patience for that. And even in relationships, it's like it's about quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about quantity. When you first get in a relationship and all of a sudden you're like in this sort of puppy love thing, and then all of a sudden and it usually is, I'm the one that's like, whoa, let's relax a little bit and this, and then you got one person that's like, come on, like, well, I want to hang out more, and I haven't seen you, and I'm in your face, and this and that, and I'm like, that's cool, this is great, but like let's make it quality,
right,
and not quantity,
yeah.
And
nothing has to move.
Because
so
eventually it will be a lot of quantity. But with friendships, I know that, and it's definitely, I get friends that are like, yo, I haven't heard you from a while. That's great. That's great. But like,
in one way, it's a judgment from some people. And it's like critiquing you.
Another one is
just like, hey,
I love you.
I miss you. What's up?
Exactly. And
there's a tone that you can sense off of it.
My buddy Keith is one of many examples, but I don't have to talk to that guy in a month. I get on the phone with him. It's like I hung up with him last night.
Exactly. But that's the best.
And there's just like, it's seamless. It's like, oh, so, and you just hear the story and you're like, wow. And then I go right back in. And those are also the same guys that can tell me the same story. And I'm on their side. Like, I don't want to hear Keith bitch about the post office. I don't like it. I don't really want to care. But I do care actually, because I care for Keith.
Right.
I don't want to hear about the post office. I want to hear you. What are you doing creatively? But that's what his thing is, and he needs me to be there for that. He needs me there to listen to why the post office sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna be that friend for you. Yeah.
Have you heard of the 5 love languages?
Yeah. It's a book, right? The 5 love languages.
It's a book.
I was reading it at one point.
I've read it, and I've read the version for single people because there's two different.
There's a single.
There's a single, but
Is
you
that the
know
one
that's how
love
far.
language?
That's,
I'm just sex.
Just
No, I'm just the one love language. One love language.
that's funny. So anyway, for some reason last night I was like, I'm gonna take the test again to see what the languages
There's a
are.
test.
You read the book and you didn't take the test to figure out what your
I don't think I
language
finished.
is?
I didn't finish the test.
So it's
Or the book.
here's why I like the idea of it, right? I like the idea that if you understand how somebody receives caring or receives love, that you can then give it to them in that way. And if you understand the way you need it, you can realize why some people are more attracted to you or not, because they know how to deliver that to you in that way. Right?
Okay.
So that's why it's interesting. And there's like, it's quality time, words, acts of service, physical touch, gifts. Those are the 5 ways you can share love, right?
What were they again?
Words, quality time, acts of service. So people just do nice things for you. Gifts, and physical touch. So the 5 languages. Okay. I scored the same on all of them. I think I scored like an 8 on all of them.
Yeah.
Except for gifts, which I got a 1. And I was like, what does that mean? That's wildly different than the last time I did.
So wait, what does that scale mean though? It's like you get an 8.
You choose between.
How long does the test take?
Short.
So what does that mean? Like your score equaled up to that?
How much that language resonates with you.
Oh, so gifts is
like not there for whatever reason. It's not there.
Okay, so like I really didn't have to buy this bottle of wine.
That means nothing to you?
That means nothing to you? Can I drink the rest of yours?
No, it's like, but it's kind of hilarious to think that. But words always places really high for me. And what's interesting about that is I've realized that the people that have come into my life are very wordy people. Talkers and not doers.
Yes.
But talkers, do you know what I'm saying?
Talkers and not doers.
Yeah, for the most part. You know, they talk a really good game, but you have to look at like where the action's coming from.
Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of want to take this test.
You should. It's quick.
It's quick?
Yeah, it's quick. But I was thinking about that in the terms of in the terms of like the people that you keep around you. You're talking quality versus quantity, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about that in the sense of like I can tell how some of the people I've had to move away from are people. Yeah, I can see who affects me more.
I wonder how I would score.
What would you think from what those are?
I would probably score like a 3 on gifts. Touch, I would probably. Well, it depends.
From the
what
look
touch,
on your face.
What would define touch? Is touch just like, because I can get really annoyed sometimes with touch. Like I dated a girl that like couldn't keep her fingers out of my ear, and I was like,
"Oh,
you need
well,
to
that's
like."
a different.
But she was just always like very touchy. But she was loving, but it was like, I just need to like not be touched by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just not to be touched.
I don't know. For me, I envision it as the person that wants to hold your hand when you're out, or they slide an arm around your waist, or you know they put it, you know they place a hand on your shoulder, they give you hugs. They're just a little bit more contact like. I'd
probably be like a 6. And then what's another one? I feel like I'm failing the test.
You can't fail. It's all you.
Yeah.
Words.
Words are big with me. Words are big with me. I love.
I feel like that one's almost a flaw. That's what I got from that.
That's interesting.
Because people can say anything.
People can say anything, but then that's why those words are important, because if they're really backed, I'm really into it. If I feel that your words are authentic.
Yes.
Because I felt words that weren't authentic before.
I felt many of those words.
And it's wild because you're looking at somebody and then you realize, wow, they were looking right at me.
Yeah.
It's one thing to put your hand on somebody or hold your hand. I mean, that's not saying anything. That's like, I got you or whatever. And it is nice. But those words, they're something else. We put a lot of meaning, you know, I guess I put a lot of meaning on those words. Ooh, what's another one?
Quality time.
Quality time is that's an interesting one too, because then there's time and then there's quality time. But like saying like
quality time is like you and that person doing something together, really putting time into each other, or an activity that you both enjoy.
Yeah, I'm still like a 5. Like it's good. Like quality time is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a part of me that's like, well, I have to have quality time with myself. You know,
I need both.
I need both. Okay, what's so far? I'd like.
Well, they're both important. You still want to maintain yourself within.
They're
a relationship.
maintain. Yeah, see, and I do. I love quality time. Like my friends that, for instance, my friends that own this house, like they have quality time. Like for instance, they cuddled and we're gonna watch a movie last night, and they're like, "Come in with me," and I'm like, "Absolutely not. That is your quality time." And every morning they sit on the porch and hold hands and just look at the flowers, and it's
lovely.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, I think that's the word, lovely.
And that's the word. And there's just like little things that they do, but then they also have to be very selfless or selfish with their times because of either their line of work or giving to the other person. So it's interesting. They have a very nice balance. I appreciate their balance.
Balance is, I think, what we're all trying to achieve.
Balance, yeah. What were the other ones we did?
I think
did I do 4?
Yeah, acts of service. So it's like you mention offhand that you're running out of something in the house, and they come home and they've got it.
That's a big one.
They do the dishes without you asking because they knew you were going to come home tired or something like that.
That's a big one, and I realized that was a big one once because years ago I was dating somebody and they came down to check on me, and I like snapped at them. What are you doing? I'm trying to figure out. I was frustrated over something, and then you could see it in their face, and I felt so awful afterwards because they were just giving me that act of kindness, and that's a huge one. You come home and you like, oh, I'm so tired. I worked all day, or whatever the case may be, and that person got you
that person just anticipated your need.
Here's your favorite cookie, or like, I knew you liked this, so I got it for you. I knew.
It's the little things.
It is the little.
It's little
really
things.
little. So I guess what I'm finding out is that words and the little things are really what's very strong. You don't have to be that present.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
you don't got to be around too much.
You have to be around. We don't have to spend that much quality time together. We ain't got to do shit, really.
You bring me a cookie and leave me a nice note.
You bring me a cookie and a note.
You like Santa?
I like to leave notes. I like little notes, just like little hidden notes. Like I mean, I haven't had a girlfriend in a long time, but like,
I'm preaching to the choir.
I would.
But with boyfriends.
This podcast is date with. Okay, here's your dating line.
We're going through all the topics. We're just touching on everything here.
But I remember like making a bunch of notes and just putting them around so that eventually she would find them.
Yeah, I've just never dated that type of person.
Yeah.
It's not happened for me.
I liked it.
It's a nice idea.
But I like that kind of thing. Like one year for a girl I dated, I was in my early 20s, but she turned like 20 or something. And I bought her a gift for every year she was born. And then I even made she woke up and I made her green eggs and ham. It was an awful meal, but like...
Dang, you got Dr. Seuss on her?
I got Dr. Seuss up on that ass. I even made Oreo cookie, like a pot with Oreo cookie, like the gummy worms.
Yeah.
I did all this awful food, but it was fun.
Right.
And then I blindfolded her and drove her for 45 minutes. It was a big thing. I would blindfold girls before that was bad, and
that was your thing.
And then
you did this
drive
multiple
them.
times.
Yeah, I did it a couple times and only got arrested for the one time.
That's pretty good.
But it was deserving.
Yeah.
And then bought her a puppy.
You bought her a puppy?
Fuck yeah, I went there. Yeah, I bought somebody a puppy once. It's stupid.
That's
by the way.
crazy.
If you're out there and you're about to buy somebody a puppy,
that only happens in the Zales commercials.
Yeah, don't buy nobody a puppy. I don't care if you're married to that person. Don't buy him a puppy. Buy him a fish.
Poor little fish.
Poor little fish. I know. Every time I buy a fish, I'm like, you're going to be dead soon. That's
they
what I think.
They look all sad. They're in the store and then just in the little bags and stuff.
I know. I bought a goldfish and I feel like I did him an injustice. Usually you buy a fish, you're like, and now you have this glorious existence. And I'm like,
you left him in the bag?
I downsized. I just left him in the bag.
Put him in a cup.
I threw a Philly cheesesteak in there and said, good luck, buddy. Threw him in the cupboard.
He'll be fine.
Put him in the freezer. I figured he'd live forever. When I was a kid, when goldfish would die, I would pour salt all over them. And for some reason, somebody told me that would resurrect them. You just pour salt on them. I think somebody was like, what the fuck would that do? Pour salt on them.
I remember that with snails.
Pour salt on them? That would kill them.
Yeah, I know. People always did that. Sad.
That's sad as hell. I used to burn
See it all the time in recess.
Not good. Kids are kind of
crazy.
Crazy.
Absolutely. So what I did want to ask you about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Your show right now, what is it, Zero to Billy?
That's one of my shows,
One of the shows you're doing. Tell me about it. Because from what I've seen, it looks like you're kind of, is it very improv-y? Is that what's going on? It's very improv-y. You're kind of just you're rolling with it?
So,
seems exciting.
So Zero to Billy was created. I was under this name Bushwalla, which was my stage name as a musician for 15 years. Went to Vipassana meditation, came out and going, okay, instead of having a nervous breakdown at 40, I'm going to reinvent myself.
So that was the turning point.
That was the turning point.
Interesting.
That's how powerful Vipassana is.
Interesting.
It took a year to retire, made one more album, released it on vinyl. Always wanted to do that. So I have a vinyl album, which is pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Not cost effective, but pretty dope. Because you spend a lot of money for a bunch of people not to buy it. But, and then that January, I spent watching Harry Potter. I watched pretty much all of them with a friend of mine from Sweden. And I remember getting on the phone with my best friend, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean what I'm doing?" He says, "Well, why aren't you performing?" I'm like, "I just retired." He said, "Yeah, but why aren't you performing?" He got me stoked. He's really good at getting me jazzed and stoked. And by the end of it, I go, "I don't know, maybe I'll start a show like, I don't know, zero to Billy, zero to me, zero to Billy." And then that was it. It was like instantly, I just fell out of my mouth, and he goes, "That's it. Call me next month." Like that.
That's
and
cool.
Then I called Java Joe's, which is kind of like a local clubhouse for us in downtown San Diego. I go, "Java, I want a residency." I go, I want to perform every week. He said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I performed every week. I packed up my show. I took it to Java Joe's, and I did 28 weeks in a row. And I didn't know what the show was about. So I said, well, I'm going to make a show about creating a show. Kind of Seinfeld-y. Like, this is a show about me inventing a new show. So I'm going to have guests. I'm going to have a game. At first, it was almost like a game show. It was a lot of like games with the audience, improvs, me making up sketches. I did like musical Mad Libs where I'd have the audience give me words, and then I would sing like "Hit Me Baby One More Time" with the words that you gave me from the audience. Or like I had a professional arm wrestler, teach us how to tear a phone book in half. Or I had a dominatrix come in and I played a gay Superman, and she was dressed up in a bondage, the Wonder Woman, and we talked about how I couldn't date the Hulk because it was just too, and
too much,
just a little too much. And by the end of that 28 weeks, I said, I'm going to just use this to just bomb. I'm going to bomb at this show every week. And it didn't. It never bombed. I mean, I had not great shows, but I went and I tried everything. I tried everything I could. So musical comedy, stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, improvisational comedy. And I realized that what the show ended up being, and I would interview the audience at the end of the show, going, what do you like? What did you not like? What can I do to improve? And like, be honest with me. And it was awesome because people got into it, and they came every week, and they wanted to be a part.
Never the same thing, right?
Never the same thing. And I usually write my shows 7 days. It's kind of like South Park. If you ever seen that movie, 7 Days or whatever it's called, the documentary on South Park, I kind of took that idea. And with having a show every week, I had to write a new show. And I know some people that have like variety shows where they have tons of guests and they do it every week. Well, my show was pretty much me and a couple of my friends that would come up. I met some improvisationalists, improvisation artists, some sketch artists. I'd always have a musical guest, maybe a guy do some stand-up. A lot of it is improv based. I did because I like to freestyle rap, so I came up with a sketch about it. Who picked a rap? And I put up 15 rap genres in a bag, and you'd pick it and be like, okay, quiet rap. Here I go, and I'm quiet, and I'm rapping. Okay, it's a polite rap. Yeah, you look good. Can I walk you across the street? You know, like, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then I would do a song. And that's what my show is now. It's I don't do the interview anymore, and now it's just an expression of what's inside my head. And it's not like, it's interesting because it's like in the stand-up world, and like a lot of stand-ups are like prop comic or this and that. And I'm like, well, it's a variety show. It's a vaudeville type variety show. Stand-up for me is one thing, but this encompasses many different elements because I juggle and I do magic. And I like to play the guitar and sing. And I like to do stand-up. And I like to write sketches. It's everything that I want to do. So why not make a show about it?
Why
and
not?
half of the show is you watching me. Like my thing that I say about the show is like, this show is not meant to be funny. It's meant to happen. So what you're here is to see this happen. And that we're all friends here. So if you don't laugh, it's just because you're a bad friend.
So what we need is for everybody to show up.
Just show up. Just show up. And we'll see
what
what happens. Because if it bombs, I'm going to talk about it. And I'm not going to be upset about it because I made it up 5 days ago or last night or this morning.
Right.
So, but it's just, I just have a lot of fun. And the more that I'm laughing about it and goofing on it, and I'm about to do it in New York City in May 2017.
Very cool.
For 4 weeks in a row. And New York is definitely like, you know, that's the place that years ago, a guy on a coke binge came up to me. I wasn't on cocaine. He was. He come up to me. He goes, dude, if you rap in New York, you'll get booed off the stage. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Thank you. I'm glad I just showed up at the party. And that's the first thing that you're telling me. And then one day I went to New York and I rapped and I didn't get booed off the stage. And now I'm ready to take my stupid show and go not get booed off the stage.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so funny. You can do all of that and then have social anxiety off the stage.
Isn't it crazy?
It just it's crazy.
I think that I either offend people or nobody wants to talk to me, or that I'm just, you know, like,
I never think anybody wants to talk to me.
I don't.
I've always been very shy, and I never assume. And people will take that as rude sometimes in a room because I don't approach people. I just don't assume people want to talk to me.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
I went up to this. I was at my buddy's wedding, and this is a couple of years ago, and I don't know, I had like a quiet moment with somebody, and I said, why didn't you come up and say something earlier? Why didn't you, if you wanted to talk? And they're like, you're not approachable. And I'm like, I'm not?
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're just over there like you look like you really don't care if anybody talks to you. You don't look like you're looking to have a conversation. And I went, wow, because what that is me trying to look like I'm okay, like I'm just cool over here.
I do the same thing. I show up and I'm like, I don't need anybody. I'm just here, existing. And if nobody talks to me, I'm fine. And you exude that energy.
And it's a really interesting energy. That's like, it's not really what I wanted to portray. Is that I'm unapproachable, and I just assume that I annoy people.
This is a defense mechanism,
which is interesting. It's totally
yeah.
It's a cop out as well.
And now we have phones.
Oh God!
And now we can look like we're just busy on our phones, so people don't want to.
But it's interesting because it's like, because I feel like if I'm on stage, being kind of annoying and kind of like maybe not the guy you really want to talk to, or like goofy, or is totally acceptable because it's part of a character.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to date. I make up is that nobody wants to date a character.
A story you're telling.
They want to date a good-looking person that they're attracted to. That is easy.
But do you feel like people get attracted to the persona on stage?
I have no idea. I make up in my head I do.
That would seem like that's a thing that happens. People meet you and then you're on stage and that's exciting.
Yeah.
And they want to know that person, and then you come off stage and maybe you're not that exact same. That's part of you, but you're a toned down version of that.
But it's interesting because I'm like, if you were into that guy, that guy's jacked up. I mean, that guy's talking about pooping his pants and not caring, like or whatever. You know, it's like this guy is more like a normal dude. So I'm just torn. I just don't know what to do. But I'm very much that guy. You know, I don't mind. Look at the outfit I have on.
Yes,
and this doesn't match at all. But I feel the thing about it is if I could feel comfortable this way, my social anxiety is why I dress the way I do. where I don't match. Because if I could feel comfortable in an outfit that's absolutely ridiculous, theoretically, I should be able to feel comfortable talking to people. But I just feel like people don't want to be bothered with me. And I think it's just an old thing that I make up, is that I'm, wow, I don't know what it is that I make up, but I'm just that, like, you don't want to talk to me.
I'm sure that's something that you're making up.
I don't know. And it's people.
I'm sure that's something that a lot of us make up.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
know?
sure. I feel, it's funny because on stage I feel sexy. I feel attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I walk off stage and I don't. I don't feel sexy. I don't feel attractive. Or I will, and then I'll go to the bathroom and look in the mirror and go, "You look like a fucking idiot," and then it's
gone somehow.
And then it's gone.
It's so interesting.
It's interesting. So I have no idea, because my confidence is not in feeling like a stud. My confidence is the fact that I have no problem looking extremely foolish.
It's a good thing to be confident in.
Yeah.
I don't think there are a ton of people that have that kind of confidence.
All I got to say is stand in front of a group of people. And you know when they say, like, and imagine them with their clothes off.
Sure.
And fine. Take your clothes off and be okay.
You've done this.
I do it every show now. I take off.
I am in the nude.
Almost. Well, not to my bells and whistles,
sure,
but like
sure, different kind of show.
But I do because I do costume changes in my Zero to Billy show, and I take off all my clothes into my boxer shorts. It's just my underwear, and I spend time. And everybody, I always get comments afterwards like, "I can't believe you changed on stage in front of everybody. Like, that's crazy." And I'm like, wow, if I could be comfortable then it's exactly what I want to do. But for some reason, I find it difficult to just be fully clothed and have a normal conversation without putting on a show. And I think that go, like, even today, I was at this event and I was doing magic tricks for people, and people wanted to talk to me because I just performed. A lot of people knew me because I'm familiar with this community. But as soon as I put the magic tricks away or like didn't have that on, I just made up that nobody wanted to talk to me unless you were friends with me. And that's probably why I look unapproachable, because I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
And in my not wanting to offend anybody, the one thing I don't take risks with sometimes is people.
It's the hardest thing to take risks with. Which
is, I've never realized that until this moment. So, wow, I do. I'm afraid of taking risks with people. That's crazy, but not.
Well, there's a lot of hurt available there when other people are involved too. It calls upon insecurities, and up there you have a certain amount of control. To an extent, people are looking. To an extent, you're in control. People are looking at you. You know, you are the presence there in the room.
Yeah.
And then when you come off the stage, you're one with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a more real interaction with people. And with that comes more doubt, more questioning, more wondering what other people are thinking of you in those times, you know?
Such an interesting place of existence, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to have such little confidence in one area, but to have such great confidence in another area. So I have a lot of
balance then, right?
Yeah. Well, I also have a lot of blunders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've experienced a lot of blunders in my life, like being the one guy in the room that says the thing and like, fuck, why does it have to be me? Or like being, you know, like these, you know, getting fired or getting like, you know, I meet my person I've looked up to for 20 years and then I say the thing that like makes you not like me.
Mm.
So I always think I'm going to say the wrong thing, which is another interesting thing, because when I'm on stage, nothing I say is the wrong thing.
Right.
Even if I say the wrong thing, it's not the wrong thing.
It's part of your show.
But off stage, I feel like I'm most likely going to say the wrong thing to you.
Well, it's strange. I think we expect people to be really judgmental of us too, and a lot of people are judgmental.
Yeah.
Really, but it's almost like sometimes you just got to be unapologetically yourself.
Exactly.
And then if people don't vibe off of that, then you can't take it personally even.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what their life is or where they're coming from.
Exactly.
And you say, this person doesn't really know me. So to me, it's like, they don't really know me. So that's not very fair that they would judge me off of a very small encounter, unless I've done something just insane, of course. But I mean, in a normal, just because you didn't say the perfect thing. Exactly. And we're in a time where we're so self-censored, right? You know, we have our Instagrams and our highlight reels and our Twitters where we can say the perfect thing, and text messaging even, which is nice to call people because you have to be yourself and you have to just say something in the moment.
Just talk.
And we're just just like we're talking just now.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just have to see what we're going to say. But in a text message, I can sit there and I can have read your text and now I'm sitting there for a couple minutes, right? Because I turn off the read receipts, of course, so I can look at the text and I can figure out how to say just the right thing to that. Mm-hmm. So you can be your ideal response.
Oh yeah,
and give off whatever you want to give off. And I think that that's been troublesome for us because we feel like we have to be so ideal all the time.
Yeah.
And nobody is ideal. We're not. Somebody can be ideal for you, I think, but we're not ideal all the time. We're not always going to have the perfect thing to say or do the perfect thing or look the perfect way.
We're just not.
We're not. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
We do. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
And it's not fair that we do that, I think.
It's not. And recently I met at a club. I went to see Wu-Tang Clan the other day.
Shoot.
They still ain't nothing to fuck with, but like... they were more like Wu-Tang dads, but
the grown-up version.
The grown-up version, But the interesting thing is that afterwards, I was with my manager, and she just likes to turn it up, like okay, like where we going dancing? I'm like,
okay,
home,
yeah,
and
my living room.
She goes, we're out, and she's like, my friend's coming, I can't wait for you to meet my friend. And her friend came, and it was cool. And she had a friend. Her friend and I were just chatting with my manager. It was like a vibe thing happening. We were just chatting, and she's like, all of a sudden she goes, because you know what, in LA, everybody's worried about you, and so there's a lot of pressure with everybody worried. I was like, whoa, you really? I was like, you think everybody's worried about you?
No, I think everybody's worried about themselves.
I go,
probably.
well, nobody's thinking about you, and she's like, absolutely not. And I didn't engage. Mm-hmm. Didn't engage because a lot of me is like, fuck, this isn't even worth it. I don't like to debate people a lot, especially if it's not in a setting like this or something. Like if it's just like out, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to convince this person for? It's like, whatever. But I was like, do you really think that person right there gives a shit about you after 5 minutes? They might, maybe you're dancing like an idiot. Maybe they want to be dancing. Maybe they're talking shit or whatever. But 5 minutes later, they forgot you're done. It's like that's on you, Yeah. So
we're all busy overthinking ourselves and being in our own heads.
But I'm guilty of it too by sitting here for the last 20 minutes explaining my social anxiety. I'm definitely like doing exactly what she says. Though I'm also in agreement with myself that nobody is worried about me. Like, and who cares? Mm-hmm. If I deal with rejection daily. Yeah. Daily. And I'm not talking with girls or anything like rejection. I'm talking like, you didn't get this part. You didn't get this submission. You didn't get this. No. Yet when it comes to human rejection of just, it's like another world of rejection.
It is.
For me to say,
it hits you in an entirely different place.
May I get your number? Mm-hmm. Can we do this thing? And actually, I was out about a year ago with some buddies, and they're like, Bush, there's a girl. Billy, there's a girl that you thought were cute in the club. Go talk to her. I'm like, yeah. And I built my confidence up, and I said, hey, how you doing? I saw you in the club. Do you think maybe I can give you my number? And she's like, you know what? I don't give
that's polite too. You gave her your number.
I did something like that. I'm like I set myself up for failure like all the way. Like, hey, let me give you my numbers.
Sure.
And of course she was like, no, I don't give my number out, or I don't take numbers at the club. So I come back and I'm looking like Charlie Brown, hanging my head, And all my buddies were like high-fiving me. I'm like, she said no. And they were like, who gives a shit? You went over there, man. That was ballsy. That was, yeah, it's about going out and getting no's.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow. And I thought that like reset my clock for this, but it didn't. And I still don't.
Because it's still hard every time.
Yeah. But today was fine because I had performed. People were like wanting me to come over. But there was like a, yeah, but there was also still that anxiety of like, okay, I can't act like anything but I'm here to be a goof.
Right. That's your safe place, probably.
My safe place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just be
and we
this,
know that
blah, blah,
human
blah.
rejection is harder than everything else.
Well, I don't really get crowd rejection, except in Vegas. But I don't really get crowd rejection.
That's good.
I look forward to my New York experience coming up. I'm just going to treat it like that time you sell your soul to the devil and all you do is work hard, go to every place I can get up on stage and write all day and try shit out and do my 4 shows in 30 days. I could theoretically fly home every time, but like dive into life, dive into my existence, dive into my creativity.
Be fully into that experience since you're going to be out there.
Create
Might as well take advantage
always and
of it.
always create, because we were all born through and in creation. So for us to be non-creative is unnatural to our existence.
Mm-hmm. Some people just learn that like they're not the creative type.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Learned behavior.
That's learned behavior. You're not the creative type. It's like saying, and I know you said earlier something about being shy, or I believe a lot of this is learned behavior from when you're a kid. Like you could do something that you're shy, and then all of a sudden your mom, your dad, everybody around you start calling you shy, and you believe it. Mm-hmm. Because the 2 most powerful words in the English language is I and am. And everything after that is just a concept of yourself. So if you change that concept and you say I am as the magic word of like abracadabra, we're all I anyways. Before our name, everyone is I. I am is that spell that you cast. And then you just put whatever you want after that concept. If you say I am worthless, well, let me tell you something. The universe doesn't give a shit. It's going to give you an abundance of stuff to feel worthless about.
It's true. We can make a lot of decisions about who we are. And I've talked to people about that. And I'm like, I do think that there's a shyness in there. I can feel that sort of resistance in me sometimes. But the way I got out of it, and the worst part of it, was basically I said being shy is not fun. And I'm not enjoying myself feeling like this. So I said, let me look at somebody that's not and just do what they do.
There you go.
And I started to kind of act like I wasn't shy.
Yeah.
Until people didn't think I was.
Yeah, I don't think you're shy.
Nobody ever thinks I am.
Yeah.
But it's because I made myself so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For a long period of time, and I still get uncomfortable sometimes. But I think you have to step into it.
Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Yeah, we get to be uncomfortable a lot if we want to do things.
If you really want to stir the pot up, hey, yo, if you want to just be cool,
uncomfortable all the time.
If you want to be cool and just safe and relaxed and everything, the opposite of what we said, do that. If that makes you feel good. It didn't make me feel great.
No, didn't make me feel good either.
So getting uncomfortable, trying new things, being daring, taking risks, risking it all. Leap. Just jump and see what happens. See what you're made of. I met a guy that walked the country. I went up to him, I said, hey man, that's amazing. And he looked me in the eye and he said, if you think that's amazing, you don't know yourself. And that was the most humble and also confronting thing I've ever heard, because in that instant, I believed that I could walk the country.
He just gave you that power, really. He said, you can do this too.
Yeah, he just let me know that I have that power. If I just walk the country, that's it.
You just do it.
You just do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Or you just show up.
You just show up.
Just show up.
You just keep showing up. If you want to be a writer, just show up every day.
Yeah. I try to release the expectation, too, of whatever I think is supposed to be perfect or ideal, right? I have to release all of that and be like, I'm just going
to
show up.
Because to quote Elizabeth Gilbert, your genius may not show up that day, but that's not your job. Your job is for you.
I love the idea of that.
to show up.
I love the idea that the genius and the muse is something separate from us that visits us when we put in the time to be present.
Your job
to
is
accept
just
it.
to show.
Because what she's saying is it's a lot of pressure to think that all of that comes just from us. That's like that's so much pressure to think that that's you. And once you do something great, you have to constantly live up to that same level all the time.
Yeah.
That's too much pressure on your creative self. Really.
And then
you get nothing done.
It's just a whirlwind of poo after that. And
just is.
Your job is to just show up and don't take life so seriously, and to fall in love with yourself.
Because you're stuck with
what
yourself.
are those things? Thank God you're stuck with yourself.
Yeah.
There ain't no way around it.
No, you're going to be there every morning.
So if you feel bad, do something. Do something. What do you love? People like, I'm not inspired. Well, what do you love? I don't need to do anything else because I love performing. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to jump out of a plane. I did it because what the fuck? But, I do what I love. There's nothing in my life that I love that I don't do. The only thing that I don't do that I actually found love doing once was pottery. I made one thing in Scotland about 10 years ago, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. That's probably the only... God, that makes me feel really good. That I'm pretty sure the only thing that I love to do that I don't still do is pottery, that I don't even know if I'd really love to do it again, but I think I would.
That's saying a lot.
That made me feel good.
Good.
Yeah.
Is that a good place to end it?
This is fun. This was great. We went for a long time.
Yeah, that's a minute.
That's a minute. That's great. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for doing this. It was amazing. Tell people where they can find you.
BillyGalewood.com, GALEWOOD. Billy Galewood. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, though you'll be disappointed. Billy Galewood all the way. I'll be in New York all of May.
Perfect. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it.
I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, you made it to the end and I appreciate you for it. If you enjoyed this conversation, share it with your friends, subscribe, or take a quick second to leave a nice rating on iTunes. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Courtney Diamond for any updates to my blog, which you can find at CourtneyDiamond.com, or to keep up with news on this podcast. If you have any questions or topics that you'd like to hear come up on the podcast, get in touch with me through my site or social media because I'd love to hear from you. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'll talk to you guys soon.